Hi everyone. Do you struggle with having a sustainable and encouraging language learning routine? Do you tend to be on and off with your language learning and feel like you're going nowhere and feeling demotivated and frustrated? So, this video is going to change your learning routine completely. I've talked to so many language learning coaches, successful polyglots, and hundreds of students of mine, and these are all the keys that they share that can enable a fun, creative, and effective language learning routine. I hope you can watch the whole thing or save this video for later because many language learners find creating an effective learning routine so challenging, and here are all the cheat codes in 10 minutes. So these are the things that I often hear from my own students and they learn Chinese. They would say, I started a new routine, but despite I was comfortable with it, I ended up abandoning it. Or how can I create effective routines or habits which work for my ADHD brain and language learning? So very specific. Being able to make a fun and creative learning routine because I get bored of following a routine after a while. So here we're going to tackle on important points and you'll have a better idea. If you struggle with this, what actions can you take? So just a very brief self-introduction. My name is Zhifei. I'm the founder of Xiaogua Chinese. We help intermediate level Chinese learners to reach fluency in 4 to 8 months. I'm very passionate about language learning and I'm also a big nerd in science of language learning. So here we go. So the four levels of habits and routine forming. So there are four steps. First is your behaviors, your systems, your results, and then your identity. What you do repeatedly become your identity. Results is usually what we focus on, but if you focus on that, it's usually what frustrates you. For example, I want to be organized. I want to learn Chinese effectively or consistently. You're focusing on the results, but actually you should focus what creates that result, which will be system. System is governed by your behaviors. Your behaviors is governed by your beliefs. Okay, so your habits are how you embody your identity. For example, when you make your bed, you embody the identity of an organized person. When you write, paint, sing, you embody the identity of a creative person. When you train every day, you embody the identity of an athletic person. So the more you repeat a behavior, the more you reinforce the identity associated with that behavior. So with that said, it actually just starts with one small step. We can drop the conclusion that habits shape who you are. Okay, you are shaped by your habits. So every little 1% change can have a massive effect on where you end up. Okay, so what does a great Chinese language learning habit looks like? What are your top routines and strategies? It can be big, small, obvious, or unusual. You can pause the video and think about it. If you are learning other languages, it applies to you anyway. Okay, so you can think about it. And here, right now, I'm going to introduce you to some exercises and the strategies that you can apply. Through the process, you will slowly create an effective learning routine that works for you, that is tailored to yourself. Okay, so the first exercise is really important. Remember what I just said? Let's come back to this. What I said, your beliefs govern your behaviors, and then your behaviors create your systems, and then creates your results, right? So let's go to the first step. What limiting beliefs do you have in relation to Chinese learning? We all have these beliefs that intellectually we know that it's unhelpful or it probably is not correct, but emotionally we choose to believe that. For example, among all the learners that all the students that I've had, I've heard these very often. Like, I can only study when I have more than 1 hour free time. If I only study 15 or 30 minutes, it's not gonna work. Or every time I learn a set of flashcards, I have to memorize 100% of vocab or I have to learn them in context. Okay? So these are potentially the limiting beliefs that are unhelpful for your learning. Or some learners will say, oh, I can never be fluent in Chinese. That's a really big and unhelpful belief that you can have. Or if you learn Chinese and then you go to China, you don't communicate people or you feel embarrassed when you don't speak fluent Chinese or you don't understand people. It makes you so nervous. And you think, oh, I can only talk to people when I speak perfect Chinese. So these are all the beliefs that don't help with your Chinese learning. Okay, you can pause the video and think about it. Now I'm going to guide you to the second exercise. Okay, you need to do 3 steps. The first step is you need to decide what time you cannot study Chinese. We have a lot of things going on in our life. We have work, we have friends, family, right? So there are certain times that you know that you cannot learn Chinese. It could be when you're working and you have to focus, or when you have meeting, when you have to spend time with your kids. These are the times that it's just not gonna work if you plan your Chinese learning during that time. So do this first. And the second step is decide what time is dedicated to Chinese. When I talk about this, is time that you're not doing something else, you can dedicate purely to Chinese. It can be really short, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, or it could be 30 minutes, an hour, or even longer. Okay. And the third step is decide when you can put Chinese input in the background. Many learners don't have this habit, and you're missing such a great opportunity to learn. Simply, you can multitask, you can do something else. For example, my student told me that when she was cooking dinner and she would put Chinese podcast series in the background, she didn't even pay attention. And this is the beauty of it. You don't even need to make any efforts or pay attention. You just need to put it in the background, and they're going to enable some learning or improve your listening. So the third one, think about it. It can be when you are at the gym, you can listen to the music of Chinese or your target language. Or it can be when you're cooking and you can put a podcast as the background, right? So the strategy is the background input is just a very, very easy task because you basically don't have to do anything. You just need to put it on. So make that habit really simple for you. And the second tip is to create bite-sized tasks. This is how you can simplify a task. If it's really big or involves many steps, it's going to overwhelm you. So when that happens, think about how you can break one task into 10, for example. And the third one is to actually organize a 2 minute study session. It sounds ridiculously short, and you might wonder, how am I gonna grow if I only learn 2 minutes, right? But that's the beauty of it. You only have 2 minutes of obligation of learning. But then after these 2 minutes, you will pick up the momentum. You will want to learn more, but that's not your obligation. It's how you feel like learning it. You feel like learning Chinese. You feel like learning your target language. And it's a totally different feeling. You create a positive reinforcement for your Chinese learning. Okay, so the rule is first teach your brain the habits if you don't have the habit yet. Okay, so teach your brain the habits. The second step is the work itself, the content itself. So the third exercise is think about this. How can I decrease the number of steps between me and my good habits? Okay, some tasks they require more steps, but we misunderstand it as one task. And this is a big mistake because it could overwhelm you thinking about that, doing that. Take going to the gym for an example. It actually involves several steps. You need to change clothes. You need to prepare for your backpack, for example. You need to be on the way. And then you need to enter the gym. Maybe you need to scan a QR code or something to enter it. Get yourself ready. And then exercise. There are actually 5 steps. So how you can decrease the number of steps, meaning how can you separate them in different times? For example, you can prepare for your gym clothes the day before, or prepare for your protein shake the day before, or prepare for your backpack the day before. So you only need to get changed, put on your backpack, and leave. Okay, so this is how you decrease the number of steps between you and your good habits. For example, if I want to watch a YouTube video on Portuguese because I'm learning Portuguese, so what I can do is I prepare for the videos that I'm interested in and I save it for tomorrow. Tomorrow, when I want to watch it, I can just click the link and start. It's much easier, right? So that's a great strategy to make it happen. And the fourth exercise is going to be really, really fun. It's really, really effective. I cannot explain to you how many good habits that I formed because of these two rules. So, two combinations of habits. After a current habit, I will do a habit that I need. For example, I have the habit to do meditation. So I set a rule that after my meditation, I will read a short text in Portuguese out loud for 5 minutes. Okay, because the first habit is already existing, so there's no effort for it, and it kind of associates with the other habits and it helps build the new habit. The second one is beautiful. After the habits that I need, I will do the habits that I want. This is so important because the habits that you want to do, you have a lot of desire for that. There's no resistance for it. Then you really want to do it. But before that, you can implement a habit that you need. For example, I have the habits to check a task organization app every morning. I love that. It changes my life. Every morning, I just want to run to the computer and turn it on, and then where's that app? I want to just put this task around. So that's something that I have a lot of fun with, and I already have the habits. So my Portuguese coach asked me, "Oh, why don't you put 15 minutes of Portuguese learning before that habit?" So it makes so much sense to me. And since I do that, I've kept a consistency that was totally different than before the on and off situation, just simply by applying something that simple and that easy. All right. And so the four golden laws, this is based on a book called Atomic Habits. It's very, very inspiring. If you're learning anything or if you want to create any habits or build any routines, I 1000% recommend this book, Atomic Habits, life changing. So it says, here are the four rules to build a good habit. Make it obvious. Don't hide your fruits in your fridge. Put them on display front and center. So, how does it apply to language learning? Make it obvious. For example, you have a notebook or you have a physical flashcards or you have notes on your phone. You can make it so easily accessible that it's so obvious it's there. So it's kind of serves you like a reminder. Oh, it's Chinese time. It's just right there. It's easy. And make it attractive. Start with the fruits you like the most. So you'll actually want to eat one when you see it. Let's say there is a specific task in language learning that you don't particularly enjoy. So what you can do is start 5 minutes the task that you actually enjoy. But when you start that momentum, the task that you don't enjoy as much or sounds more effort, it becomes easier because you're in the momentum. Okay, so you make your Chinese learning more attractive. The third one is make it easy. Don't create needless friction by focusing on fruits that are hard to peel. Bananas and apples are super easy to eat, for example. Yeah, this is quite close to make it obvious. So, how can you make it so easy? Decreasing the steps, or putting it somewhere obvious, or start with the easy one. Okay? Make it satisfying. If you like the fruits that you picked, you'll love eating it and feel healthier as a result. And in language learning, it's linked to giving yourself a reward, making it satisfying. And me personally use this tool. Let me show you. It's called Habit Share. So I put all my habits here. For example, the short text shadowing. I put the goal that is I need to, let me just make it bigger for you. So I have this goal, short text shadowing, and I put that I need to do it twice per week. So the days that I did it, I put them in green. So these are all the habits. Every time I put it, it's just like, hey, sense of achievement. I did it. So that's a little reward that's like make me feel satisfied. And the coolest thing is in this app, you can, after a month, because I just started the habits, I only had 2 green dots. Imagine you stick with it 1 week, 2 week, a month. They're going to be full of green dots that make you feel proud of yourself. Okay, so that's one tool that I find really, really helpful, and I highly recommend you. All right. So, other tools and techniques that might be helpful for you, you can consider that. Create challenges using a calendar. Don't break the chain twice. Habit share thing, adapting it to your personality. If you like to organize it in a calendar or if you prefer keeping it creative, finding accountability buddies are very, very helpful, and do a everyday checklist or tracking or planning and task management. There are a lot of them, so you can consider, you can pick those that work for you. So the last exercise for you would be, if you want to do it with me, then check in with your current self. So are your old or current habits and beliefs serving you? You can pause the video to think about it and to write down your answer. So is it time for a change? What will you change? What is the one tiny little action that you can take, even though it doesn't feel like it, but it can change your Chinese learning completely? So it can be, I decide to study 2 minutes before bed. I decide to do some fun things and make my Chinese fun to start a momentum and do the task. Or I can combine my habits, the existing habits, to a new one, a one that I need to a habits that I already enjoy and have. I would love to interact with you and then talk about the habits. If you find it an important, interesting topic, you can reach out to me. I'm on Instagram actively at this stage of my life. You can find me on 小瓜 Chinese on Instagram and we can have a chat. Hope you have a great one. See ya.